Last winter was one of the snowiest on record in our neighborhood, and from the very first big storm, I noticed something strange. Every time the HOA hired their plowing crew to clear the community streets and cul-de-sacs, massive piles of snow would mysteriously end up pushed right onto the edge of my corner lot. Not just a little overflow. I'm talking huge, compacted mounds that buried my driveway apron, blocked my sidewalk, and turned my front yard into a frozen wasteland. At first, I thought it was an accident. I shoveled what I could, waved politely at the plow driver, and figured it would stop after a storm or two. But it didn't. Storm after storm, the same thing happened. I'd wake up to fresh walls of snow deliberately shoved onto my property, sometimes 6 to 8 feet high, while every other neighbor's yard stayed pristine. My security cameras caught it clear as day. The plow truck would finish the street, back up specifically to my lot line, raise the blade, and dump load after load right over the boundary. I tried talking to the HOA board, sent polite emails, showed up to a meeting, even brought printed photos and video clips. Their response? Snow has to go somewhere, and we're not responsible for where the contractor places it. They claimed my lot was convenient open space and basically shrugged it off. One board member even smirked and said, "If you don't like it, move." No fines for the contractor, no warnings, nothing. They just kept doing it all winter long. By February, my yard looked like a landfill made of ice. My kids couldn't play outside. My driveway was a constant battle, and melting snow was flooding toward my foundation. I'd spent hundreds of dollars on extra shoveling help and salt just to keep things manageable. I was done being nice. Then came the idea. If they were going to keep giving me all this free snow, why not put it to good use? Over the next few storms, instead of shoveling the dumped snow back into the street or hauling it away, I started carefully reshaping it. Each new load got packed and stacked along my property line that bordered the neighborhood's main access road, the only way in and out for half the houses. I used my snow blower to sculpt it neatly, layered it higher and higher, and even sprayed it with water on cold nights to turn it into solid ice. It became a perfectly straight, towering wall of snow and ice, running 80 feet long and growing taller with every dump. By early March, after one final massive blizzard, the wall stood nearly 10 feet high and 15 feet thick at the base. And here's the best part. Because of how my lot sits at the curve, that wall now completely blocked the HOA's freshly plowed street. No one could get in or out without going over my property. Which, of course, they couldn't. Suddenly, the HOA cared. Very much. The morning after that final blizzard, my phone started blowing up. Texts from neighbors I barely knew, frantic calls from numbers I didn't recognize, and then a furious email chain from the HOA board demanding I immediately remove the obstruction from community property. I stepped outside with my coffee and just admired it. The wall was a masterpiece. Smooth, gleaming ice towering over the road like a fortress. Cars were lined up on the other side, headlights flashing, horns honking uselessly. Kids were climbing on it, taking selfies. Someone had even stuck a dead-end sign on top as a joke. The HOA president showed up first, red-faced and yelling about lawsuits, trespassing, and how I was endangering public safety. I calmly pointed out that every single flake of snow in that wall had been deliberately pushed onto my private property by their contractor. "I'm just organizing my yard," I said. Snow storage. Since you told me snow has to go somewhere." Then the plow company arrived. The same driver who'd been dumping on me all winter looked like he'd seen a ghost when he realized his loads had built his own trap. They tried backing up to chip away at it, but the base was too thick and iced over. Their equipment just scraped uselessly. Police came next. Non-emergency call, of course. The officer walked the property line with me, reviewed my survey pins, watched the camera footage I had ready on my phone showing months of dumping. He shrugged, told the HOA it was a civil matter, and suggested they work it out with the homeowner. Then he asked if he could take a picture of the wall because it was impressive as hell. By afternoon, the board was begging. Offers to pay for removal, promises it would never happen again, even apologies, sort of. I told them I'd think about it, and left the wall up for 4 more days while temperatures stayed below freezing. Finally, I agreed to let a professional crew dismantle it, but only after the HOA signed a written agreement. No more dumping on my property, ever. They'd install clear no plowing beyond this point markers, and they'd pay for a new drainage system to fix the water damage from their melting piles. They signed it the same day. The wall came down, the road reopened, and spring arrived without a single extra snowball on my lawn. That was 3 years ago. The markers are still there. The plow drivers wave now instead of dumping. And every winter when the first snow falls, I get a polite email from the HOA, just confirming our snow removal plan for the season. Some battles you win with lawyers. Others you win with a snowblower and a whole lot of patience.